Happy New Year, everybody. We're back. Couple of weeks off. Merry late Christmas. Holidays were crazy. Didn't really have enough time. Family got sick. I was sick. But we're back and better than ever, as they say, in 2024. A lot to discuss, go over, give you my opinions on what has happened and what potentially might happen this coming Sunday and Saturday, because there's games on Saturday too that matter. But I just starting off with our previous two games. Just a quick little recap of what I took away and whatnot. Obviously, starting with Saturday before Christmas, the 23rd. In LA against the Chargers. Some good, some bad, some, bite your fingernails, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, the most important thing was winning, and they did that. I felt like that game wasn't talked about enough. The spot that we were in. I understand what happened to the Chargers and, the historic loss that was the week before against the Raiders and then them firing Staley and the whole thing and, no Herbert, it's Easton Stich. It was a tough spot for us. Let's just be honest. Coming off the win against Dallas, big game, big opponent, national television. The whole thing, how we won, which I think then increased the expectation with how they were going to play the following week. Short week, cross country. How many times have you seen in, I'll just call it the last 10 years, that a team that goes through what the Chargers went through, right? They fire their coach, it's turmoil, it's this, all of a sudden everyone's, playing for one another, and they come out and either win a game or they play really, really well. And it's like, well, why weren't you playing like this before? And maybe you wouldn't have fired your coach, and you would have been in a, playoff chasing spot, what have you. So again, tough spot. The Chargers roster is really good. I know that they were missing, a bunch of good guys: Herbert, Bosa, Allen. But that was Eckler's best game in 2 months. Without a doubt. Still had Derwin James. So, again, tough spot for us. Short week, really short week. Obviously playing at 4:30 the previous Sunday. Again, cross country, the holiday, all roll into one. You got the game that you got. Most important thing happened is them winning. So, all in all, again, I think that was just kind of a moment for them. Okay, we continue. This ball keeps rolling, right? So that now we're just gonna roll right into Sunday, this previous Sunday home against New England. Again, divisional opponent. Divisional games are always tough, especially against New England. Yeah, we've had their number for the last couple of years, but we did lose to them earlier in the year. Fluky game in my opinion, but. And the game starts off, first 10 seconds, there goes Jalen Reagor down the sideline, touchdown Pat, 7-0 out the jump. So, it's an obvious statement, but I was very happy with how the defense came to play. I think when that happened, I think the defense said, okay, we're going to have to, really take over this game, and they did. And shout out to the first shout out of today, of 2024. Shout out to John Warrow, that fucking idiot, who said that the Bills wouldn't make a significant move at the trade deadline, and Rasul Douglas has the most takeaways in football since. And he's just an absolute stud. Plays the position how it should be played. Tackling, run support, obviously in pass coverage. His knack for being around the ball, at the ball, almost at all times. Just a stud player. And I said it when they made the move. and I'll say it again, I think it's huge moving forward that he's under contract next year. What that looks like, they extend him, maybe lower the cap hit a little bit. They'll cross that bridge when we get there, but just a phenomenal addition. And you saw it. But as a whole, Terrell Bernard had a phenomenal game. Ed Oliver had a phenomenal game. I mean, he's just living up to exactly what he said when he got the extension. And look, hand up, I was move on, trade him, see if you can, package him with a pick to maybe get a higher pick in last year's draft. And completely has proven me and a lot of people wrong. And I'm happy. That's the good part of being wrong, is when it goes that way, not the opposite. I will say, I think, again, Ed's probably been, outside of Douglas, probably has been our best defender for the last month. He had the couple big sacks against the Chargers the week prior, and it's just been a force. I think, actually, I don't think, I know that it's no coincidence as to why those two had really, really good games. One of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons is because big old 92 DQ was back in the starting lineup. And I did not expect him to, I thought, if he can get 17 to 20 snaps, that would be a plus, kind of work him in. And no, I'm pretty sure he led, maybe outside of Ed, he led the position at snaps. So that was huge to see. He's a difference maker. He does the things that allow other guys to make plays, whether it's who's playing next to him, who's playing behind him. Just a phenomenal football player who should be extended. Again, another conversation for another day. But so all in all, again, I think the defense just came to play. They made play after play after play, even the ones that didn't count, that were close, that were, they played really well. If they can carry that defense, and I'm not saying they're going to get 4 or 5 turnovers a game moving forward, but if they can have that mindset of take the ball away, like, hopefully, not to move into Miami here real quick, but hopefully, again, Miami is, they try to get the ball out quick jump a route, Hopefully Douglas can get in front of Hill, see how much he plays. I'll get to that in a little bit, but so I think defensively was fantastic. I'd also like to take credit for lighting the fire under Sam Martin's ass, because he had the best day of his Buffalo Bill career. 6 punts, and all of them inside the 20. A couple of them inside the 10. Actually, I think a couple of them inside the 5. So, don't know why. Don't know what he had for breakfast, but obviously, he should take that moving forward. But offensively, it was probably Brady's worst game. Play calling. I thought that there was some good, don't get me wrong. And again, I know that it's a difficult opponent, and Bill wants to go out because, look, that, my opinion, and again, I said this months ago, Bill's done. In New England, in my opinion, I think that they move on. I think there's a mutual, whatever, parting. So last gasp here for Bill against us in the division. Not to say that he won't go in the conference, or we'll never play him again, but I thought, and look, New England's been playing good football the last couple of weeks. I mean, they beat Denver in Denver. Nobody expected that. And again, defensively, they've always, I think they're still a top 10 defense. So, look, was I expecting better? Sure, absolutely. But am I surprised that New England gave us fits defensively? No, I'm not. They've done it before. So, but just from the jump, I kind of felt sitting up there, I'm like, Josh just doesn't look like he's super confident in where he's going with the football. just felt like he was kind of, okay, go. And it wasn't just a smooth, here we go, type. So I think moving forward, hopefully, the great thing about winning is you can, learn some stuff that would be very difficult to do so in a loss. It makes it easier when you win. So, you got to run the football better. I felt they ran it okay, but I shouldn't say it pains me to see this because I was probably the guy, holding the reins there on the Latavius Murray train. I think that time has come. And I think that they have a literally like Latavius Murray 2.0 on the roster, on the practice squad with Fournette, who can be elevated, obviously, for this Sunday, no expenses paid, and then can obviously do so unlimited, knock on wood, in the playoffs. So that drop was just so huge and critical that he made, and he failed to get the third and one. I think that the gas tank is on fumes for Murray. He is certainly not running like he did in September and October, and as the weeks and months have gone, it feels like he's slowing down big time. So wouldn't be surprised if Fournette is there on Sunday night, if they just make inactive Murray, make Murray inactive. Hello. But yeah, so got to run the ball better because I think, again, it sets up a lot. Look, New England had a ton of guys in the box a lot of part of the day. They were tempting, daring them to throw the ball deep, and they did a couple of times. Obviously, Josh threw the pick. If you look at that play, I commented on X or on Twitter. Eric Turner of Cover One, I think, had it, if memory serves me correctly, but Sherfield was just a lazy route, and I think the defender knew it was Sherfield and the ball wasn't going to go to Sherfield, so that quarter, he kind of just, started to kind of drift towards Kincaid there, and I think that was Steph. And again, not that I'm blaming Brady if that was, Sherfield's time to be on the field and then give Steph a blow, what have you. But I think if that's a better route, a better ran route, Sherfield just kind of curled it over with the post. Didn't really sell hard to make that guy bite to open up Kincaid. I think that's completed, potentially a touchdown, at least inside, what was it, like the 15 yard line. So that they miss, obviously, Diggs on the go across the field. You got to hope that obviously they start to hit that, because if they hit that, it's just going to open up a lot more. Just the one. But it is no coincidence that they missed on that one, and then later in the game they hit Kincaid, going the same side of the left to right, or right to left, excuse me, on the big one. So they gotta. I feel as if, especially against Miami, I'll finish with New England first. I'll get to Miami in a minute, but there's things to be had. There's easy things that I think that they can clean up. I think that they need to have Josh to start a game, right? Just bing, 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 bing. Let's get it cooking here. Get in a rhythm. Feel right. Feel the rhythm. Feel the right. It's bobsled time. So, but again, I think New England gave us a game. But obviously the better team won. And, again, it sets us up for Week 18. Didn't really get any other help over the week. Seattle fell flat in their face. Geno Smith, and I know some people are going to laugh at this because I've said it to him before, but I think Geno Smith is like the worst big spot quarterback in the league. Maybe in his conference, and maybe Jared Goff, but no Super Bowl, whatever. I feel like it's bad. It's bad. Pittsburgh had their best day offensively. 450 something yards. Just Najee Harris looked like he was back in Alabama, just running left, right, up, gut, whatever he wanted to fucking do. And just extremely frustrating. Pittsburgh loses that game, we clinch. Kansas City, while looking bad, one offensive touchdown, did their part, and they beat Cincinnati, eliminating them. So, it boils down to, taking a swig, Week 18, I'll get into, where am I here? 15, not bad. Took a screenshot of the scenarios. Okay. So, I thought last week happens, and sitting there at New Year's Eve, obviously, and, watching Sunday Night Football a little bit, I fell asleep, I zonked, and, waiting for the schedule to be released, I thought from the jump, even before Sunday happened, I'm like, if we win, they're going to put us, unless we've clinched a spot, they're going to put Bills-Dolphins Sunday Night Football. I mean, there is. That's just, it's the smartest game outside of Houston-Indy, because obviously that game is a win and in, and losing potentially out, or is the loser definitely out? I don't know. So it just made sense. It just made absolute sense, especially, again, because obviously the winner is the 2 seed. I mean, we're not talking, peanuts here. We're talking about potentially 2 home games, maybe even 3 if somebody upsets Baltimore, which I think could happen. I'm not saying it's going to, and we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But Baltimore's playing really, 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 really good football. Probably the best of anybody in the entire league. But Lamar's got to show it to me. You guys got 1 playoff win. So, it's a different animal. It's a different environment. I don't care if you're home or away. Especially if you're home. You're set up for failure because you're expected to win, especially when you're the 1 seed. Nice to have the bye. But, so anyways, scenarios here, right? So obviously, we control our own destiny. That's it. Control our own destiny. We win by however many, 1 or 100, as they say. We are the 2 seed. We host. We would play, I believe, the winner. If Jacksonville beats the Titans, we would play the winner of Houston-Indy, 2-7. I don't know if there's another way that we play. Cleveland's locked in the 5. I don't know if there's a way. I don't know if there's a way if Kansas City is the 7. I don't know. Could also be Miami. Again, Miami could be the 7, and we could play them back in Buffalo the following week. So that'd be cool if that was a little snow game, So that's the. I mean, it's a double-edged sword if you ask me. Knowing, because we're gonna know. We're the last game 272 of the year. You're gonna know: have you clinched? Have you not clinched? And it's winning in at that point. I mean, it very easily could be winning in, losing out, right? We need Baltimore to beat Pittsburgh. Baltimore, look, I don't think Baltimore. I'd be shocked if Lamar played. Huntley, he can do it. I mean, you've seen it. They can only have 6 inactives. Okay? So, this notion that all 11 on offense and all 11 on defense and Tucker and the whole, they all can't be inactive. So, all of them are going to play in some capacity. How much? Who knows? They don't have Mitchell. They lost him for the year. How much does Gus Edwards play? I don't know. Justice Hill looked pretty good against Miami, right? So again, I think that Baltimore can easily do it. They're at home. I like Baltimore's defense, backup starters, doesn't matter, against Pittsburgh's offense. Does a Kyle Hamilton play? Probably not. Does a Roquan Smith play? Probably not. But again, how many do you pick from each side here, right? Do you make a Zay Flowers and an Odell inactive along with your quarterback and your running? That's 4. You only got 2 more. So, there's going to be snaps played by starters from Baltimore. It's not as if this is a full backup and third string team. All right, so get that out of your minds if that's what everybody's thinking. And not to mention, I saw this yesterday, a couple years back. Baltimore, same spot. Baltimore played their backups and they beat a Pittsburgh team, sending Pittsburgh at 8-8. I want to say it might have been 18, maybe 17, something like that. Forgot 19, whatever. So that's one, and you're gonna know that early because that's the first game of the week. It's Saturday at 4:30. Saturday night, you got Colts Texans. That game doesn't mean anything to us because the winner is in, and the loser. We're not gonna. Let me just make sure that I'm not spreading false information here, but I'm pretty sure that the loser would be in over us because of zing playoffs here. Come on, Yahoo. Yeah. Well, no, because if we lose, yeah. Well, no, if we lose. Hang on. Do people have this wrong? If Indy wins, they're in. Right? They're the 7. And they have a conference record of 7-4. Houston is 6-5, so but 9-8. But if Indy loses, oh no. Yeah, they'd be 7-5. Houston would be 7-5. We would be 6-6. So yeah, that game doesn't matter. Whoever wins or loses. Actually, that's interesting. Can both of those teams get in? Four and 2. Oh, I think that they would probably. Indy would get in. Well, no, Indy beat Pittsburgh, so Indy would be in. Yeah, both of the teams can make it. Interesting. That would suck. Anyways, so back to us. Thought for a second maybe that game had a little implication, but it doesn't. We win. Doesn't make a difference what happens, right? We lose. Jacksonville loses to the Titans, which I loved what Mike Vrabel said yesterday about losing fucking sucks and yada yada, and we're going to fight in this. Love it. Love it. I don't know if it's Levis. I don't know if it's Tannehill. DeAndre Hopkins needs 49 yards to hit a $2 million bonus. Real nice. So a lot to play for down there in old Nashville. Is that game in? Where is that game? Where is that game? That game, I believe, old Nissan Stadium, 1 o'clock Sunday. So yeah, so obviously Titans. So back to here we go. Jacksonville loses. And Pittsburgh loses. We're the 6th seed. Back to Allenhead, as they call it. We lose. Jacksonville wins, which would mean that they would win the division. And Pittsburgh loses. We're the 7th seed. Miami. Might as well just stay. They would come home. But back to Miami. We lose. Jacksonville loses. Pittsburgh wins. We're also the 7th seed. So if we lose and either of Jacksonville and Pittsburgh loses, we're in and we're the 7. Auto 7. That's it. Back to Miami. That's set in stone. And you wonder, And obviously, if we lose and both Jacksonville and Pittsburgh win, we're out. So that's the scenarios. You wonder, getting ahead of myself a little bit, but you wonder if we are the 7 and we play Miami again when they put that game on for the playoff game, for the wild card round. Right? It's Sunday Night Football. Do you put them back on Sunday? I think that would be the fair thing to do. But I saw the last 2 times that a team has played a win-in scenario, on Sunday Night Football. Raiders, Chargers, that game that could have resulted in a tie 2 years ago. And then I want to say it was the Commanders/Redskins at the time. Both of those teams then played their playoff game on Saturday. Again, I think us as an organization and who we are and who we have, right there, get us out of the Saturday spot. I just think it does. So we'll see. And again, I think maybe the league would say, especially if it's Buffalo, Miami, again, 3rd time, hey, let's give same advantage to both teams, same rest, Sunday, here we go. Would hate the Monday night game. I don't think that they would do that, but you never know. So that's those are the scenarios. Where are we here? 27. You take care of business. Win a football game. Doesn't matter by how much. Doesn't matter how you look. It doesn't. It's just this for how. You thought that, like, obviously we haven't had the things that happened to us last year. Actually, 366 days ago was the Damar Hamlin game. By the way, my apologies. Let's see if I can find it here. I don't know if y'all can I swing it here? See this picture? Right there. Everybody hugging Steve Christie. Signed. Happy comeback day, everybody. It's old January 3rd. Anyways, what was I saying? Shit, I forgot. Anyways, so I think that just win a game. Just win a playoff. I mean, I think if we know, here's a scenario that I wanted to kind of put out there, and we'll just dive into. I'll do a half hour. I don't know how long I'm going to go, but we'll just go until the wheels fall off here. Both Miami and Buffalo, both teams are in a really weird spot, right? Obviously, Buffalo is more than Miami because it's a win and in. And if it's a win and in, losing out scenario for Buffalo, yeah, it's all hands on deck. No questions asked. Absolutely all hands on deck. Is there a potential for... You want the home game. You want the 2 seed. I get it. But at what cost? Now, to both teams. At what cost? I'm going to start with us, and then I'll get to Miami. Pittsburgh loses Sunday night. You know when you wake up Sunday morning, you've already punched your ticket, right? Who plays? How much do they play? Right? How much does McDermott and staff say, all right, Josh got a little stinger, left shoulder, whatever, how much are we going to push this for the 2 seed, knowing that we're going to play next week in a wild card game? Probably at the same stadium if our starting quarterback's not going to play. I mean, Cal Allen's a good golfer and he's a good quarterback. So it's like, how much do you push that there? How much does James Cook play? How much does the Steph Diggs? The list goes on, right? Or it's, listen, we want the 2. We're going to go all out, and we would rather host Miami or host an Indianapolis/Texan team, right? And try and get and go from there. I think knowing them, they'd probably do the latter, what I just said about we're going to push it for the 2, knowing how important it is to get teams in our place, in the weather, in the elements, because I have the quarterback that can do whatever he wants in whatever elements that there are. So I think that that's the route that we would take. I think potentially it might change a little bit if 1 o'clock comes and Tennessee beats Jacksonville and you find out at 4:30-ish, that you're in because Jacksonville lost. So very interesting to see. Again, we don't have too many guys that are banged up or significantly hurt where it's like, hey, if we can get them an extra really 2 weeks from the next game, that would be massive for them. So that's interesting to me. Flip it, right? Now I think it's even more, just in terms of injury. I'm not hoping this at all. Am I giving anybody any empathy or sympathy, for hurt players? No, because of what I've gone through the whole year, especially on one side of the ball. When you lose all pros, this team is not in the spot, in my opinion, is not in the spot that they're in if Matt Milano never gets hurt. And it's not a knock on Dodson. I am not a Dodson supporter. I never will be. It's something that I put up with. He has been good in spots and has not been the extreme liability that he has shown in previous years. I also think it's what's around him, what you do. If Matt Milano has played every game to this point, I firmly believe that we are at least 1 game better, to which we wouldn't be in this spot of winning and losing out. So again, injuries, you're not going to get a sympathy card from me because your head coach was stupid enough to play your best pass rusher with 5 minutes left in the game that you were losing by 30 plus points. And your quarterback hurt his throwing shoulder earlier in the game in the fourth quarter, again, down by, was it 42-19 or 49-19, whatever it was. I think Tua is going to play. To what extent, right? So that actually transitions very well. How much do the critical starters for Miami play, knowing that they already have a spot locked, knowing how already banged up they already are, right? You lose Chubb for the year. Howard's now week to week with a sprained foot or sprained ankle, something along those lines, not expected to play on Sunday. And even if he did, I actually think it would hurt him more, right? Foot, cornerback, not good. They lost Jalen Phillips a couple of weeks ago, again playing in a meaningless fourth quarter on a turf that is known in MetLife to sustain injuries, the biggest injury probably of the season, right? Against Rodgers, or for Rodgers. So anyways, they're banged up. They lost their center for the year, torn ACL. Robert Hunt, one of their starting guards, I believe right guard, has missed the last couple of weeks. He's banged up. Mostert, knee and ankle. Actually, I think it's both ankles and a knee. Or maybe it's both knees and an ankle. Banged up. Didn't play against Baltimore. I like Achane. Good. I mean, really good. Fast. Again, Mostert's got 20 touchdowns on the year. A lot. So they're big. No Waddle, right? No Waddle. Waddle's got a high ankle sprain. Expected back for the playoffs, but we'll see. It happened 2 weeks ago. High ankle is 4 to 6, so that's pushing. I know he didn't have the tightrope surgery, as they call it. So they're banged up. They're down to, and I hate that they signed Melvin Ingram. I wanted us to sign Melvin Ingram weeks ago. It was one of those Yankee Red Sox moves where you sign this guy so that your number one opponent or rival, divisional foe, doesn't, and you also get a decent player. Not sure how he's played for them. I know he's been active the last 2 weeks. He's going to be active. they're down their top two edge guys. Van Ginkel, Van whatever the hell his name is, he's also going to be their other starting guy. So Jerome Baker is going to miss the game. So there's spots. There's a lot of Holland's been banged up. Ramsey is obviously coming off the surgery. He's played, but again, we'll see what happens there. But I feel as if Miami is in a mindset of, and again, I think that they're going to go for it. I don't think that this is going to be a Mike White game. I think that they're going to start Tua, and I think Tua is going to play. I mean, unless it's one of these games that, it's over at halftime. Either way, right? I don't see them, playing Tua. Hill has been dinged up. I know he's played, but been dinged up. So if you're the team that has already secured a spot, I think it's very fair to ask, how much do we really push for the 2 seed? Knowing that, you really don't have a home field advantage. Let's just call a spade a spade. If you're going to ask any of these teams, where they would rather play a playoff game, Miami, Florida, or Buffalo, Orchard Park, New York, they're all going to say Miami, Florida. It's not even close. It's not even close. Weather aside, fans, the stadium, the aura, it's not close. So, and maybe that's what pushes Miami. I don't know. It's a very, I've been thinking about it literally since I got home from the game on Sunday. I just wonder now. A lot of people have said what I've said, and I've said what people have said. I shouldn't say it that way, but about how much of an idiot McDaniels has been playing these guys in these blowout either victories or losses, and how much they've played. Nobody's invincible out there. Nobody. All of a sudden, you're playing Hill, bad ankle and all, he gets rolled up on or what, and now he's out next week? Say Miami wins and we're in. Now you're playing without Hill and Waddle. Say Buffalo wins and Hill gets hurt because he's playing and it's 30, it's 37-17 Bills with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and Hill's out there and he gets an injury. I don't think McDaniels is that stupid, but he's done it. And again, maybe this is that was the tipping point moving forward, especially just this standalone game. That he, pulls the reins back a little bit with some of his top players. We'll see. But again, I feel as if it's a really good conversation to have, and I don't think it's being had enough with how much Miami is going to go for this game. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised either way. I'm fully expecting the majority of their starters. The one guy that I would not be surprised about would be Mostert. Because of who his backup is, but also because they know that they're in. They'd rather have Mostert be another week healthier with multiple injuries to LBIs, as they call it, to the lower half, knowing, what that all entails. So, I feel like Miami, how should I say this? It's a big moment for Miami. And sure, they beat Dallas. I thought Dallas should have won that game. But every other pit game that Tua and this team has played a significant opponent, they've lost. They have not won. Obviously, hopefully Sunday is not the time it flips. But our back has been against the wall basically since Thanksgiving. Just even before that Eagles game. And we've rolled 4 off in a row where, again, people were schedule this and schedule that. I just feel as if how we've had to play these games with the implications that are on the table. If we lost any of these games in the last 4 weeks, we're not in the spot that we're in right now in terms of division. Look, I knew as so much as the sun was going to come up the next day, I knew that Miami was going to lose to either Baltimore or Dallas or both, and they got their freaking doors blown off against Baltimore. Not surprised at all. So I just feel as if where our minds as a team has been the last month, like Josh and numerous players have said, we've basically been playing playoff games for the month of December. So to continue that, obviously the hope would be is that you don't run out of steam. But look, this team hasn't been in this spot in the regular season to go to the postseason the last week of the year. Win it in and potential lose and go home. So, won't give a prediction because every time I believe that we've lost. So, but I will say this. I think that we're going to get a really good game from Jimbo Cook. And I think that his play can be the difference as to why we win. I also think that you're going to see a very aggressive defense. And I hope that they can contain a couple of guys, one being Ed. Ed can, again, game wrecker, and he's been phenomenal all year, but he can fly off the handle a little bit, and all of a sudden it's a couple 15-yarders and, offsides and encroachments and whatnot. So, harness that aggression and put it into Miami Sunday night. So, that was it. What are we, 43, 42 and a half here? Hopefully I can do one of these in a very good mood next week. We can have a lot of playoff chatter to chat about. I was going to maybe touch on some NFC stuff, but I think I'm just going to wait for next week. So, until then, go Bills, squish the fish. Catch you guys next week.